look, Rich and I are casual NBA fans, but we are glued to this because we're seeing young stars playing big at the biggest moment. It's fun to watch. Styles make games, and the Timberwolves got this figured out, at least in the moment, unless the Nuggets fix something or make some sort of adjustment.
In the most simplistic form. I'm no NBA insider. But the narrative was, to stop the Nuggets, you need to throw big men at Jokic, and that's exactly what Minnesota is doing. And, Danny, don't think for a minute I didn't think, well, the T-Wolves are out to like a 15, 20-point lead. I've seen this before.
You thought they were going to come back.
I've seen this before, but the T-Wolves didn't take the foot off the gas like, unfortunately, the Lakers did, or, couldn't keep it.
Well, and besides the size that the Wolves have on the bench, and they have a hell of a bench, they're also more athletic than the Nuggets, and that's saying a lot because look how athletic the Nuggets looked against the Lakers. So Covino's exactly right about the matchups, but when you look at the star power of these youngsters, like the 23-year-old Anthony Edwards, dude's shooting over 50%, and he's got a hell of a jump shot. Usually that young, there's lots of high flying and dunking, but the shot's not there yet. This kid can shoot.
Playing big when it matters most. And Rich and I have a theory that if you watch a documentary or watch a movie, and after that movie or documentary or biopic especially, you're on Google looking things up, it hit you good. Like if you watch a story on Netflix or Hulu or whatever it is, and you go to Wikipedia just to find out more about it, that it got you. It was a good movie. When you watch Anthony Edwards play, you're searching his stats, you're doing the research, I'm checking his contract. I'm like, when is he done? Where is he going
Covino's
next?
first thought was, how long does he have with the T-Wolves? Because there's going to be big market teams that want to snag him. But he's locked up for a while. He's 23. And if you're a Minnesota fan,
he's locked up till 2028.
You got some good couple years ahead of you. They were frustrating the hell out of the Nuggets last night. I mean, so mad people are throwing heating pads on the floor.
Yeah, don't be a sports baby like Jamal Murray. We'll get to that.
Really quick, Cove, I should point out, he doesn't turn 23 until August 5th.
Dude, that's insane.
So he's still 22.
Dropping deuces. 22?
It's insane.
My God, I'm double that guy's age. That's wild to me.
It's also why there's rumors that LeBron is really his daddy.
I mean, he could be my son if maybe he can't be my son, but
that's what I was looking up his age and his contract for yesterday, little Danny G, because he's been so complimentary of avenging and defending LeBron's honor.
Yeah.
I was like, well, what are the chances of them teaming up in the future? Because what an honor it would be for him, and that would be a missing piece that LeBron would need to move forward and get another championship. And I was like, well, by that time,
he shows LeBron.
He's got to be done, and LeBron's not going to Minnesota.
He shows LeBron so much respect.
Right.
But I agree with Covino. There was a sentiment of like, he respects LeBron to the point where, what are both their contract situations?
That's why I was looking yesterday, but just playing so big. And again, styles make games. I know I'm stating the obvious, but it's so apparent when you see how they match up against the Nuggets, because the Nuggets look unbeatable against Danny G's Lakers, but now they look very vulnerable. Now they look human. Rich gave the analogy of when Ivan Drago started to bleed.
Yeah, when Rocky cut him, remember he's like, I fight for me. No, remember he cut him and he's like, he's human. He's human.
They're making the Nuggets look beatable.
Yeah.
And he's got some MJ mannerisms. We've joked on the show before about how Michael Jordan might need a DNA test. You are the father.
Now, Covino,
you are the father.
Before the show was saying something interesting, and I want to take it to this angle for a second. Covino, you were saying, is there anything else in life that you could just turn on your interest level? Because the not the WNBA, the NBA, the regular season, it's like, it's watchable, but not must-see TV ever, really.
It's amazing how we could go from casual viewers of the NBA to fully invested with no team in the race like this. I think that's a testament to the NBA pushing their star power, because we know these players, so at least there's some sort of connection or familiarity. We know them, we hear about them, we see them on highlights all the time. And I think there's something to be said about what Big Mike, who runs this place, we were talking about it before the show. It's like,
who?
I could watch some hockey playoffs, but I'm not as invested as I am when I'm watching NBA playoffs. Why is that? Is it because we played as kids? Is it because, we picked up a basketball and we know what it's like to shoot around? I never got on ice skates in my life. I'm a Guido kid from New Jersey. What do I know about hockey? Not a whole lot. Yeah, we got the Devils. Yeah, we got the Rangers and the Islanders, but I never played hockey. Never played in my life. Is there something about the fact that you played it as a kid growing up? Or is it the star power of the NBA that we relate to? I don't know. But Rich is making the point. We were talking about how, I don't know, there anything else in life where I could go from sort of into it to completely into it.
Bedroom activities.
I've always been into it.
You could be like sort of tired. If wifey leans over and is like, hey, you could go from I'm tired to like, yep, let's go. That's like the NBA playoffs to me.
Okay.
Having sex with my wife and the NBA playoffs, same thing.
Wow.
Hang on, let me tweet that out on the official FSR account.
Yeah,
Honestly,
somebody quote that.
Think about it. You're tired as hell after a long day.
Anthony Edwards gets me excited, Rich, but not that excited.
But I'm saying, if your wife gives you a girlfriend gives you a little nudge when you're like half asleep, you can wake up pretty quick.
You go from groggy to
now let's do this.
Ready to go.
That's to me.
But it is
the
it's
NBA
like,
playoffs.
I can't say I go from 0 to 60 because I care about the NBA. So I don't know anything else that I go from 30 to 60 as fast as I do the NBA, from like casual to like, man, I am so glued. Like, I can't wait for tonight to watch the game.
To be honest, I almost feel guilty, like I'm a front runner, but I'm not rooting for a particular team. I feel like a guy like Danny G who watches every Lakers game must be like, look at this guy caring now.
But I got another theory, though. Again, I said familiarity. I said star power of the players. We're familiar with them. But how about the fact that, clearly the games mean that much more. So you're seeing a whole different level of intensity, but you're actually seeing teams play defense, too.
Defense.
Right? That's a big part of it. So you're sitting there as a viewer like, damn! And that brings the excitement. Like, you can't turn away.
Yeah, and even if your team loses in the first round, the other meme I sent you guys this morning, the picture of the guy beating on the other guy, and he's got a Wolves logo over his face.
Yeah.
The one getting beat is the Denver Nuggets logo, and there's a photographer just laying on the grass taking a picture of the scene, and the Lakers logo's over that guy's face.
Well, the reason we were talking about this, too, just a side conversation before the show, is one of our buddies, Donnie Pompidou, who listens to our Patreon show. He's like, how come you guys don't get fired up like this over hockey? And it's like, well, I don't know. I was trying to figure that out. I'm like, is it demographics? Is it, again, the fact that when you're watching NBA, everybody's represented. I don't know if it's just more worldwide in that aspect, right? Like, I don't know. There's no blacks, there's no Asians, there's no Latinos in hockey. I don't know why there's a bigger reach or
there's a
few
bigger
draw.
There's a few black players.
There's a few, dude.
Yeah,
like
but
a handful.
But I just feel like the NBA, and you can say hockey's a global sport. It is. I know what you're saying, and I can say this.
I'm not saying it's not global.
I can say this because I'm Russian. It sort of throws you off when you see all these random dudes with names that it seem like they're lacking a few vowels, and you're like, who is this guy? When you can't pronounce anyone on a roster's name, and you're not a big hockey guy, it's hard to sort of casually watch.
Well, again, I'm stretching, Rich, because I was really trying to think, well, why is that? Is it because we played basketball as kids?
And you never played hockey.
I never played hockey. I don't know. But I'm gonna say, no, it's the next level of intensity. The games matter, and star power
it's got
in the NBA.
It's not that, because those things exist in the NHL as well. You're just not connecting. Intensity? What's more intense than a Game 7 in the NHL?
I'm not connecting. You're not connecting. Danny G,
Agreed.
you're not connecting. Iowa Sam, do you connect that much about it? I don't think so. So there's a
He shook
reason.
his head. No, and I've tried.
And I was trying.
I've tried. I've tuned
trying
into
to figure that out.
a lot of different NHL playoff games. I try to watch the Stanley Cup. It's just, you're right. I'm not connected to it. I didn't play it growing up. So
Danny G, please understand why I'm even bringing hockey into this.
no, I'm glad you did,
It's
though, because
because
somebody else asked me about this
We
the
get
other day.
so much criticism because we're casual NBA fans, right? But then we come here like, dude, did you see that game last night? And we're so pumped about it. It throws people off. Like, you guys don't get pumped about hockey like that, even playoffs. And it's like, well, look, we watch. I don't know, so I was just trying to really dive deep
Dude,
on it.
the last time you played hockey
Was Blades of Steel.
No, it was Nintendo hockey. We have to choose if you want the fat, slow guy, the skinny, fast guy, or the medium guy.
That was a great game. It was a great game.
Nintendo hockey.
Still a great game.
What do you got? 2 medium guys, 1 skinny, 1 fat? I think that was the
That's
lineup.
it. Yeah, 2 medium, 1 skinny, 1 fat. Yeah, so
No, you're right. It's an interesting time on the sports calendar because once the NFL draft is completed, then most of the headlines on TV and sports shows are NBA playoffs. And it's weird because when we were all in NFL mode, rarely would there be an NBA headline that took over everything.
Interestingly enough, the NFL is king. It's Lord. It's, president, dictator. And the NFL rules the sports world. After that, listen, I'm self-aware. I'm a baseball guy. But I know that people don't want to hear me talking about Pete Alonso all the time. I get it. Baseball just doesn't have the same.
It's like when Rich would make fun of me for talking about Chocolatito. That was his go-to, like when it came to me talking about boxing. Nobody wants to hear about Chocolatito.
Yeah, because Kevin would always be like, yo, this weekend, Chocolatito Lopez. I'm like, who cares? I get it. Listen, you don't think I have thoughts about Brandon Nimmo yesterday hitting a game winner for the Mets? I just know most people are like, yeah, Rich, you care about Brandon Nimmo. Baseball, America's pastime, takes a backseat to the NBA right now. The NBA, you could say hockey has the same intensity, but there's something about the NBA playoffs, the way it's packaged, the way the stars step up, the way the coverage, whether it be Stephen A. or Shaq and Chuck, it's just really good.
Again, that's star power,
yeah,
though.
There's something about it.
So you could say, like, what about hockey? I don't know those guys the way I know these household names in the world of the NBA.
Yeah, I do have friends.
Regional.
I do have friends that are in New York, and they're tickled pink right now because they got the Knicks and the Rangers both sort of,
hey, look,
in
I'm
a
not
great
hating
spot.
on it. If it gets you fired up, that's great, man. So I'm not dissing on hockey. Again, that was the question that was posed to me earlier, and I was trying to really figure it out. And I'm not trying to bring race into it. I'm just saying maybe it that's what lacks appeal to some people. I don't know.
I want to tell you why. I could see that being a possibility, but then soccer doesn't hit over here in the States, and that represents Latinos, whites, blacks, Asia.
That's because
soccer's global.
Yeah, but we got American football. That's why,
That's
and
true.
that got in the way of it.
But if you watch the NBA right now, we're watching young players.
That's great.
Changing of the guard. Anthony Edwards, Donovan Mitchell, Brunson, what he's doing in New York. People owe the Knicks I was wrong, because when they got Brunson, people laughed about it, like that's their big get. He's slaying it. Tatum, SGA, maybe the most underrated guy in the Western Conference. So right now, you're seeing these young players emerge as something really fun. Again, also basketball moves quick. It's 2 hours. Maybe there's something we're forgetting, but yeah, there's got to be a reason why NBA playoffs just pop.
And I just think it's so amazing to see these young players, again, stepping up on the big stage. And the Timberwolves making the Nuggets look like that? Tell me the Nuggets didn't seem invincible, dude. They seemed invincible and unbeatable because the Lakers had to play perfect just to compete.
Yeah.
And then the Timberwolves shut them down to what? That was the lowest scoring they had all year, 80 points?
I kept imagining our boss, Scott, watching, too, because he is a lifelong Timberwolves fan.
He was probably smiling like Mr. Miyagi.
He and other Wolves fans have gone through years and years of mediocre teams and bad teams. So to finally have a team do that to the champion, this would be a good time for all of us to ask for a raise.
Let me tell you, I didn't want to text our boss.
I'm going to text him right now.
I did not want to text him because I didn't want to jinx it, because I know Denver could come back.
No,
so I didn't want to be like, yeah, Scott, how about your T-Wolves? Knowing that at any moment, Denver could step it up. But you know what? For Minnesota fans, not just our boss, I know we got a lot of friends and listeners up in the Minnesota area.
Yeah, a lot of affiliates there, too.
We did a live broadcast in Minnesota, and we were shocked how many people showed up. I know we have a lot of friends and support in Minnesota.
Dude, Dan Gladden showed up.
They haven't. Gary Gaetti was there. They haven't.
Kent Herbeck was there. We shared wings.
It wasn't that long ago. It seems like that team was dominating, but it is. 87 and 91, those 2 World Series for the Twins. Besides that, there's been a hell of a lot of sadness between the Vikings, the T-Wolves, the Twins, just not really producing winners. So if you're a Minnesota sports fan, enjoy this for as long as you can. As Billy Madison once said, stay here for as long as you can.
And if anything, guys, what we want you to get out of our excitement is if you're a casual NBA fan, you got to be tuning in. But you got to be tuning in now because we're seeing these young players really step up, and it's exciting to see. And if you're already a diehard day-to-day fan like Danny G, meaning watching every game all the time, then you know exactly what we're talking about. But the other point is, I can't think of many things. Rich gave one other example, and that's bedroom activities.
Yeah.
That takes us from 30 to 60 as fast as the NBA playoffs
You can
does.
be cruising around and be like, whoa, I'm excited. The only other thing besides the NBA playoffs is, like I said, when the wife or your girlfriend gives you a nudge late at night and you're very sleepy and she seems like it's go time.
Oh, yeah. And in case my girlfriend's dad's listening, that was Rich's example, not my example.
Yeah, your daughter. Don't worry, Len. Your daughter is dating a dud. He is the most prude lame-o I've ever met.
Well,
So
I'm busy
don't
watching
worry.
basketball.
Don't worry, Len. He's watching Sports Center
I'm
while
watching
your
Chocolatito.
daughter's sleeping next to him.
I'm watching Chocolatito Gonzalez highlights. So, is there any other examples, by the way, that you're so cavalier, pun intended, about, that gets you excited out of nowhere the way the NBA playoffs does? Is there anything else you could, you care about it casually, but then all of a sudden you could turn it on and be so fully invested?
I'm
Not
honestly,
many examples.
I'm trying to think. Maybe if you're a casual golf fan,
Hey, you're like that with-
Masters weekend, you're like, oh, locked in. I don't know.
There's a lot of people like that with fighting, too. Like, I don't watch boxing, but if it was like a big Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder fight, or back in the day, a Tyson fight, or Tyson Jake Paul coming up in July, people are like, boxing's fixed, whatever, it's rigged. Who are these people? The judges suck. It's fixed anyway. Boxing's corrupt. But then, when there's a big fight like Tyson, they're glued in like they're the biggest fans of all time. And I understand it because it brings that level of excitement.
Our buddy Sean hit us up listening on the iHeart app out here in L.A. Said, I think a lot of it has to do with the little exposure hockey gets, and maybe for good reason. He's a big hockey guy. I know he's a big...
but dude, if it got big exposure, then, people would be tuning. People aren't tuning in on that level for a reason.
He said
I don't know
basketball, you see it all over social media. Social media and basketball have a pretty good relationship.
That's a
Listen,
great point.
You go to TMZ Sports, as you always say, you go to Bossip, you go to all these websites. There's drama. NBA's got people with burner accounts and craziness. Name one hockey
NBA
player.
makes stars.
There was one hockey story that was salacious, and it was that guy, Connor Bedard, whose mom might have been sleeping with one of the other players. That's the only time we were like, ooh, there's a hockey story.
Great story.
So, I mean, like, that's the proof in the, hockey pudding.
And by the way, to make it clear, that doesn't mean we don't watch the big games in the NHL. Of course we do.
Dude, let me tell you.
But I'm telling you, these NBA games are bringing it.
I went to my first, I've been in L.A. for over 5 years now, and I went to my first L.A. Kings game this year. It was a hell of a lot of fun. I had not been to a West Coast hockey game. It was great at, what is it now, Crypto, Staples, what do they call it now?
Yeah.
Crypto.com.
Yeah.
Just call it Staples.
Staples. And, dude, it was a hell of a time. I was right there by the glass. Fun to watch a guy slamming against the glass right near you.
Rich put him on the glass, like Sir Mix-a-Lot.
And I put my cheeks on the glass. It was weird. But no, I think hockey's missing something. I don't know what it is.